welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global South. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost. Hello and welcome to Firstpost Africa, where we get you the top stories from the continent and from across the world. I'm Alyson Grange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. First, let's take a look at the headlines. Iran says it has taken the necessary measures to ensure the continuation of its nuclear program, as Tehran and Tel Aviv trade accusations of ceasefire violations just hours after agreeing to a deal brokered by Donald Trump and Qatar. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and US President Donald Trump are set to meet on Wednesday on the sidelines of the NATO summit in The Hague, with talks expected to focus on Ukraine's purchase of a defense package, mainly air defense systems. Turkey arrests 158 military personnel suspected of links to Fethullah Gulen, the late cleric accused of masterminding the failed 2016 coup against President Erdogan. Thailand shuts a border crossing with Cambodia to most travelers, including tourists and traders, citing security concerns amid escalating tensions over a simmering border dispute. And days of heavy rain leaves parts of southwest China submerged, with experts warning of more downpours ahead. Hundreds of thousands living along swollen rivers and in low-lying areas have been urged to evacuate for their safety. Hello and welcome. Our top focus tonight comes from developments in West Asia. Over the past few days, the region has witnessed some fast-paced developments, from a full-blown war involving Iran, Israel and the United States to an abrupt ceasefire. But the impact hasn't been confined to West Asia alone. The ripple effects are being felt thousands of miles away, across Africa. The world is watching as tensions in West Asia threaten to disrupt global trade routes, triggering supply chain shocks and energy price surges, with Africa among the most vulnerable regions. Now, in the latest, Israel and Iran accuse each other of violating a ceasefire to end the attacks in the region. Now, the escalation began on the 13th of June, when Israel launched a massive air campaign striking over 100 strategic targets across Iran, including nuclear facilities and key IRGC command centers. Iran retaliated with missile strikes on Israel, and just days later, the United States entered the fray, with President Trump ordering airstrikes on Iran's core nuclear sites. In response, Iran launched missiles at US military bases across West Asia. Now, amid this, Iran threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, a strategic choke point through which 1/5 of the world's oil and gas flows. In the last 24 hours, tensions eased slightly after Israel and Iran agreed to a US-brokered ceasefire proposal. While global markets have reacted positively, the ceasefire remains fragile, and the economic aftershocks, particularly across Africa, continue. If the ceasefire breaks down, analysts warn that the situation could worsen for Africa. It could disrupt shipping, currency pressures, and a sharp rise in energy prices. Brent crude had surged to over $100 a barrel in the wake of the strikes, with some analysts predicting a spike to $150 if Hormuz is blocked. Now, after the ceasefire talks, prices have dropped to around $70 to $75 per barrel. But volatility continues to rattle markets and policymakers. Beyond crude oil, the supply of refined petroleum products remains a major concern. Many African countries, including Kenya, Ghana, Senegal, and Malawi, import the bulk of their petrol and diesel needs. With rising global shipping costs and oil premiums, governments already struggling with fuel subsidies now face severe fiscal pressures. Egypt has emerged as one of the most exposed countries. The redirection of global shipping away from the Red Sea has dealt a major blow to the Suez Canal, one of Egypt's largest sources of foreign currency. Canal revenues have plunged to below $900 million this month, a sharp drop from over $2.4 billion in the same period last year. This loss, coupled with currency devaluation and high import bills, is adding to Egypt's economic strain, triggering new concerns over debt and inflation. Across sub-Saharan Africa, experts warn of similar turmoil, with many countries dependent on imported oil. Fuel shortages, higher transport costs, and inflation are very real risks. Our supply chains already under stress could face further slowdowns. The next few days will be crucial in shaping the economic fallout. What will be the repercussions if trade is disrupted? And our next story is from Somalia, where authorities are intensifying their crackdown against the Al-Qaeda-linked terror group Al-Shabaab. Now, Somalia says its army has killed at least 20 Al-Shabaab terrorists in a fresh military operation in the central Hiran region. Now, the offensive comes after Al-Shabaab claimed it had killed 33 Somali soldiers in an earlier attack on army bases in the same region. The Hiran region has been one of the most critical battlefronts in the war against Al-Shabaab since Somalia launched its renewed offensive in 2022. Apart from Hiran, Somali forces, in coordination with international partners, carried out joint operations in Aden Yabal district of the Middle Shabelle region. Meanwhile, in a separate operation, Ugandan troops, part of the African Union mission, said that they killed 30 Al-Shabaab fighters in Lower Shabelle region. Now, the Ugandan forces claim to have ended an Al-Shabaab siege of a town and recovered a significant cache of weapons and ammunition. However, the operation came at a cost. Uganda confirmed the deaths of 7 soldiers in the battle. Somalia has been battling an insurgency by Al-Shabaab for over a decade. The group seeks to overthrow the federal government and to impose strict version of Islamic law. The African Union's support and stabilization mission in Somalia, which includes troops from Uganda, Burundi, Kenya, Djibouti, and Ethiopia, continues to support Somali forces on the ground. However, the mission is facing critical troop shortages. Meanwhile, U.S. forces remain deployed in Somalia, focused on targeted strikes against Al-Shabaab leadership and training support. But recent reports suggest that U.S. President Donald Trump may order a partial troop withdrawal in line with his previous stance to limit overseas deployments. With the U.S. commitment uncertain and African troop numbers in decline, experts fear a resurgence of Islamist militancy in the Horn of Africa. In March of this year, Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud narrowly escaped an assassination attempt when terrorists targeted his convoy in the capital of Mogadishu. Now, Al-Shabaab has since carried out a deadly hotel siege and launched an assault on a police camp in southern Somalia, underscoring the group's continued capacity to strike. As Somalia steps up its offensive against Al-Shabaab and international troops face uncertain futures, the fight against terror in the Horn of Africa hangs in a delicate balance, With militant attacks showing no signs of slowing and regional security resources stretched thin, the coming months will be crucial in determining whether Somalia can turn the tide or risk a new wave of extremist violence. And let's shift our focus to a significant development out of North Africa, where Libya's Al-Khadim airbase is emerging as a crucial hub for Russian arms in the Sahel. This comes amid renewed relations between Russia and Libya, allowing Moscow to strengthen its military footprint in a strategically vital part of the continent. Media reports suggest that Russian cargo planes have been shifting Russian weapons from Syria to Libya. But why is the development important, and why is it happening now? To understand this, let's take a look at the relations between Russia and Syria. Now, the airbase in Hymim in the Latakia province of Syria, along with the naval base in Tartus, are key military outposts for Russia. However, the ouster of longtime Syrian ruler and Russian ally Bashar al-Assad in December last year has cast doubt over the future of the bases, with the Western countries hoping to pressure Damascus into closing them. While Russia is in talks with Syria's new interim leadership to retain the two bases, Moscow has reportedly begun shifting some of its equipment to other bases, particularly to those in Libya. Now, using a combination of satellite imagery and flight radar information, media reports show that last month, a Russian Antonov 124 plane took off from the Hymim base in Syria and arrived at the Al-Khadim base in Libya. Now, this massive aircraft, designed to carry loads of up to 100 tons, is one of only about 20 still in service worldwide, and it's primarily used by Ukraine and Russia. Now, these reports focus on a specific Russian Antonov 124 plane, coded RA-82030. This aircraft is operated by 224 Flight Unit, which is a subsidiary of the Russian Ministry of Defense. Now, as per data from the Flight Radar 24, at the end of May, this specific aircraft completed a nearly 10,000-kilometer journey between Syria and sub-Saharan Africa. Its first stop, the Al-Khadim base in Libya, which is located about 100 kilometers east of Benghazi, the capital of Cyrenaica, and this region is under the control of Marshal Khalifa Haftar, who is backed by Russia. Now, the tracking data for the plane on the 16th of May showed it taking off from Syria's Hymim base and then disappearing from tracking sites for a period before reappearing north of Egypt. Now, media reports suggest that 2 days after leaving Syria, that is on the 18th of May, the aircraft was found parked on the Al-Khadim runway. Following its stop in Libya, flight logs indicate that the Russian aircraft then continued its journey, making stops in the Malian capital of Bamako and Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso between the 20th of May and the 26th, before finally heading back to Russia. While the exact cargo on this particular flight isn't clear, the aircraft's immense capacity allows it to transport multiple aircraft or armored vehicles. In the past, these large carriers have delivered a range of military hardware, including aircraft, helicopters, radars, and surface-to-air systems, to countries in the alliance of Sahel states. Now, investigation further revealed that the same plane had flown from Syria and had appeared near the Al-Khadim earlier in May. And reportedly, similar activities have been ongoing at this base in recent months. Further evidence of these transfers has emerged from Telegram channels close to the paramilitary Wagner Group and the Kremlin-backed Africa Corps. Now, these channels have referenced Russian weapons deliveries to Al-Khadim, including heavy weapons and armored vehicles identical to those used by Russia in Syria. These flights are strong indicators that Russia continues to use its African allies to bolster its military footprint in the continent. A visa isn't a right, it's a privilege. Now, the US authorities are making this crystal clear. The US Embassy in Ghana has issued a firm warning. The message to Ghanaian visa holders comes with a serious warning about the consequences of violating US laws. Any violation of American laws could lead to immediate visa revocation, ineligibility for future visas, and even deportation, like links to criminal activities, overstaying your visa. Even minor offences like traffic violations can carry serious risks. Now, the warning posted on Facebook comes as the US authorities step up enforcement amid a rise in visa cancellations linked to overstays and fraudulent activity. It is a part of a broader crackdown by US immigration authorities backed by Trump. The US visa rules clearly state that even minor infractions could lead to immediate deportation and a permanent ban on re-entry. Now, there's more to it. In a related development, the US State Department is targeting non-immigrant visa categories, the F, J, and M. Now, these cover students, international exchange, and vocational, and their accounts on social media, expected to be public as a part of the screening process. They have said an absolute no to private profiles, and those can be viewed as an attempt to hide information, and that alone could cost a student their visa. Now, this also means that what one posts on social media, including political views, can be considered adverse. Those could determine if you can pursue education in the US. The embassy went on to say that this rule is mandated for all countries. It added that the authorities have required visa applications to provide social media identifiers on visa applications since 2019. The US Department of State explains this is about enhancing national security and preventing misuse of visa privileges by international visitors. The embassy's post, tagged with the hashtag #RespectVisaRules, is a preemptive caution to travelers who might underestimate the strict immigration rules of the US. Current US immigration policy states that any visa holder convicted of a crime, even if it's a minor violation, can result in a probable ban from re-entry and deportation. The embassy, in its post, urged visa holders to obey all US state, federal, and local laws. The embassy's message is clear. A visa to the United States is an opportunity, but it comes with significant responsibilities. Follow the rules, stay informed, and don't jeopardize your opportunity. And that's it on the show for today. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.